The Bluey movie is going to change the history of the animated series forever. But do you really know what's about to happen in the world of the Healer family? Villain. This movie has a huge chance of introducing a villain for the very first time in the Bluey universe. Anyone who has watched the series knows there are no real antagonists in the show, but the movie is going to change that. The truth is that because this animation is very child-focused, where the main character spends her time learning while growing up and playing, there's never really been a need for a villain. But in this movie coming to theaters in 2027, the story changes. You've already heard us talk about several animated movies here on the channel, and there's always a villain, and for one simple reason. The hero needs to overcome a huge challenge. In the world of Bluey, those challenges are things like having a barbecue, riding a bike, or searching for Easter eggs. But in this movie, the challenge will need to be much bigger to justify a 3D animated film that lasts more than an hour. Whatever it is, we're sure this future movie will have someone trying to ruin Bluey's life. Now, exactly how this mysterious dog is going to do that is still a secret. Stay tuned because another Cinewave full of new stuff is starting now. Accident. There's a strong theory going around online that says Bluey is going to get hurt and end up needing a cast on her leg. This might be shocking to you, but it's an important detail a lot of people need to understand. Bluey focuses on the idea that kids grow up while playing and learning, meaning it's a story about childhood and growing up. And believe it or not, one of the things a child Bluey's age needs to learn is that she's going to fall and get hurt sometimes. We've already seen something similar in the episode Yoga Ball, when Bingo struggled with Dad's rough play, and in the episode Bumpy and the Wise Old Wolfhound, when Bingo got sick and had to go to the hospital. But Bluey herself has never suffered any real accident, and because of that, we can expect a moment where she'll have to wear a cast on her leg. Do you know how that could happen? Bluey does karate. We see this in the scenes from the episode where Bandit takes the trash out, and that could be exactly what causes our protagonist to break her leg during the movie. People who practice karate can end up getting hurt during classes or martial arts tournaments. In the movie, Bluey could have to compete in a championship, lose a fight, and end up getting injured. Wouldn't that make a great story? Jealousy. Another thing that could happen in this movie is Coco getting jealous of Bluey and Mackenzie. This is a storyline the series has been building up for a very long time. In the episode Circus, the pink poodle wanted to pretend she was Mackenzie's wife and even wanted Bluey to force the border collie to accept it, but Mackenzie didn't want that. Now, everybody already knows that Bluey and Mackenzie have a future together. We see that in the scene where the protagonist dreams about Mackenzie, and on top of that, the little puppy we know as Bluey's daughter is probably also the border collie's daughter. And what does that have to do with Coco? Everything. She's going to get jealous because she'll realize the protagonist and the boy she likes have way more in common, and that could have something to do with that villain theory. Could the two stop being friends? A movie about Bluey's teenage years could have a huge fight between them. Bingo. Another thing that's supposedly set to happen in the movie, at least according to many fans' theories, is Bingo competing in the science fair alongside Lila. The scene where the two friends are shown winning a science competition is something fans have been waiting for a very long time. This is an interesting detail because the movie could focus on a challenge Bluey needs to overcome, which in this case would be the beginning of her romantic life with Mackenzie and the end of her friendship with Coco, while another story happens at the same time, in this case, a challenge for Bingo to solve, which would be her science project for the school fair. We still don't know if this could really become such a major storyline for the Bluey movie, but since it's one of the theories fans want to see the most, the science fair idea definitely makes our list. Would you like to go to school with Bluey and Bingo? Comment the hashtag Bluey so we can get to know you. Birth. Another thing that's going to appear in the movie is the birth of Bluey's new cousin. And this is barely even a theory anymore, it's basically confirmed. The reason is very simple. As far as we know, the Bluey movie is going to release before season 4, and Bluey's Aunt Brandy appeared pregnant in episode 49 of season 3. That was one of the last moments where Bluey's aunt appeared, and she was already far along in her pregnancy. And since season 4 isn't going to start before we watch the movie, it's obvious we're going to see this new puppy being born in theaters. Isn't that cool? Jean-Luc. Everybody knows Jean-Luc is going to return in this movie, right? Of course that's going to happen for sure. The Canadian Labrador is a character who only appeared in a single episode of season 1. But even so, fans are dying to see Jean-Luc return to Bluey's city, and many people think the two could become a couple. This movie has the perfect opportunity to bring this character back during one of Bluey's family vacations. And let's remember that he learned to speak English just so he could talk to his Australian friend, which means Bluey is obviously a very important person to him. Who else is ready to see Jean-Luc return in the Healer family movie? Airplanes. Another thing that would be really funny to happen is an airplane mix-up. Imagine the story. The entire Healer family, not just the main characters, but also the uncles, cousins, and grandparents, are getting ready for a trip. Everyone is at home, running around everywhere and heading to the airport. The problem is that the airport is total chaos. Chili works in airport security, but she's on vacation with the family at that moment. When everyone is about to board the plane, a mistake happens. The tickets are wrong, and they won't all be able to travel together. What a huge problem! Then something terrible happens. Part of the family goes to another plane, everything seems like it's going to work out, but the plane they board is the wrong one. In other words, they think that even after switching planes, they're still going to the same place and will reunite at the destination. But everything gets worse when we discover they ended up on the other side of the world, meaning the entire family gets separated. And this would all be the fault of Chili's boss. We've known since the very first episode of the series that Chili doesn't like her boss, and we find out why. He's really dumb. It's his mistake that causes part of the Healer family to travel to another country. Another reality. What if something else had happened? Bluey is a series filled with theories. Anyone who follows the channel already knows that very well, but there's one problem with this kind of thing. The question everyone asks is, what if something else had happened? What if Bandit had never met Chili during that vacation month in Fairy Tale? What if Frisky had never broken up with Bosco? What if Chili's lost child had never lost their life? And more importantly, what if the protagonist wasn't Bluey? All fans of the series know that Rusty was originally supposed to be the main character, and everybody knows Bluey was supposed to have a brother. Those were some of creator Joe Brum's ideas before making the series. That's why we believe this movie could explore what this universe would look like if the creators had made different decisions. The biggest clue is that they changed the movie's art style from 2D to 3D. Why did they do that? It wasn't necessary, unless the idea was to create something completely different, including the story itself. Ever thought about always having new animation content on your feed? Just subscribe and hit the bell. Time skip. Now here comes a theory that could actually become true in the next few months, so pay attention. There's a chance the movie will take place after a time skip. Wait, what do you mean? It's actually pretty simple to think about. The final Bluey episode in the series, meaning the last thing Ludo Studio produced before the movie, was that scene of the protagonist as an adult visiting her parents' house with her daughter. What's stopping that scene from being the beginning of the movie? We could absolutely get a continuation of that moment, where the animation style is now 3D, and the protagonist of the story isn't Bluey anymore, but her daughter instead. What do you think about that? Adventure. Have you ever watched the episode Adventure from season 1? It's one of the most special episodes in the series because it shows Bluey and Chloe creating several characters to tell the same story. There's a queen, a princess, a fairy, and a witch, not to mention the horse. That episode is so iconic that fans never forget it, but when it comes to the movie, we might be talking about a bigger and even stronger version of that game, and honestly, that's not hard to imagine. Every episode of the series is basically one of Bluey's games, and in the movie, it could be exactly the same thing. We could end up following one of the protagonist's imaginary adventures, where she's imagining this huge fantasy quest, and in the end, it all turns out to be just Bluey's imagination. Could that happen? Fairy. Speaking of imagination, there's something else that could happen in this movie: the return of the fairy. This character appeared in the series when Bingo got upset with Dad Bandit, and it has always remained a mystery in the show. Fans have always wondered whether magic truly exists in the Bluey universe or not, and because of that, the movie could be incredible by finally showing that fairies really do exist. Our protagonist could finally meet a fairy together with Bingo, and the two of them would learn about magic, and that would be so cool, don't you agree? Santa Claus. Speaking of magic, what if the movie ended up being a Christmas movie? We know the movie is going to release in August 2027, but the truth is they could still create a special story where Bandit becomes Santa Claus, and the Healer family turns into his helpers. Part of the movie could focus on doing good things for people in need, like when they donate toys to underprivileged children. We could go through several holidays like Easter and Children's Day. It would be adorable and definitely a super special movie. Would you like to see a movie like that? It's a really fun idea, but if you want to discover even more, stay here with us. Take the chance and watch the 2 videos we left on the screen. I'm sure you'll have fun. See you soon.